Hi there, dance studio owner, and welcome to the Transform My Dance Studio podcast. In this very special series of podcasts, we are so excited to be bringing you some of our favorite guests. Of course, I'm talking about the members of the Dance Studio Owners Inner Circle. We wanted to share these with you over the next 2 weeks because these studio owners are just like you. They are here to share their success stories, and I know you are going to love them as much as we do.
Hey there, Dance Studio Owners. It's Clint Salty here, founder of the Dance Studio Owners Association, and I want to welcome you to a very, very special. We did this last week. You guys loved it. We are back again for another week. One of the favorite things that I get to do is to chat to other studio owners who are doing really amazing work in our industry, who are innovative, creative, passionate, and just all around nice people. And they're the types of people we like working with here at DSOA. And so today I've got a couple of more studio owners that we are going to be chatting with for them to really share their journey, the highs and the lows of studio ownership, and to hopefully provide you with some gold nuggets, some strategy, some tactics, and everything else, really some good stuff to get you growing your business, maybe shifting you into a new mindset of truly becoming the CEO of your dance studio. All of our members that we are chatting with today are members of our Inner Circle program. And first up, we're talking to the marvelous, always provides a lot of sunshine to our Inner Circle group, and that is Angela from More Than Dance in Minnesota. She has dug herself out of the snow from the weekend to chat to us today. Angela, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Clint. I'm excited.
So, Angela, why don't you give us the 2-minute kind of wrap up of how you started your studio, and what does the studio look like now? What does More Than Dance look like?
Sure. Well, we started the studio 8 years ago, and I started with 40 students who probably about 5 of them were family or friends of family. And now we just are at 400 students. So that in itself is really exciting. And we are a studio that does singing, dancing, and acting. So we provide a whole wide range of different art type programming for our students. So the studio's been growing. It's been a lot of work, but a lot of fun.
Yeah. So 4 to 400 is
40 to 400.
40 to 400 is a difference. Well, at some stage you had 4. 40 to 400 is a difference. I'd love to, because people are probably thinking to themselves, like, how do you do that? And whether it's a studio that's maybe at 100 now, or 150, or even 200 or 300, wanting to add that extra 400. What do you think have been, or no, what are some of the things that you have done to get you to that 400 number?
Sure. I think the biggest thing is having the systems in place for students who trial. Beforehand, students would just come in, they would trial, and then if they signed up, great. If they didn't, we kind of lost track of them. Yeah. So having a system in place that everybody knows on how to follow up and how to keep in contact with them until they give us a definite no or a definite yes has been fantastic. The other thing for me has been the re-enrollment process. Like, I never realized that you could actually enroll people for the next year before the season started. Or before the season ended.
We love our re-enrollment process.
Yes, it's fantastic. And it's so nice because it helps me to relax a little more over the summer, knowing that at least I have this number and I can keep working on getting more. But it really helps for planning. And that never, ever occurred to me before that could be a possibility.
Yeah, but it doesn't occur to most people, I think. Like, we speak with a lot of studio owners and we're like, hey, here's our 6-week re-enrollment. They're like, what? Re-enrollment? Yeah. And exactly like you said, and what we teach is get it out of the way so that, when summer is happening, when it is the prime to get new students through the door, you're not busy worrying, oh, hey, are all these hundreds of people coming back? Mm-hmm. You can really go, okay, that's done. We've got 85, 90%, whatever the kind of re-enrollment rate is. You've got these people already locked in for another season. Let's put our time and energy on really attracting those new people.
Yeah. And it also helps too with nurturing the families that we have now, knowing that, I mean, I really always like to appreciate them and give, give love back to them. But it really helps too, because then we know that they're in it for the long haul. So we can really connect with them on a more deeper level too.
Yeah. And I mean, I know that that's a really important piece for you. Like, you focus very heavily on customer service, the experience. You know, you've got your gratitude tree. I always remember Angela's gratitude tree. You know, there's a lot of things you do inside of the studio. Where does that come from? Where does that piece of like really wanting to nurture and really look after the customers, like you guys go, you know, far beyond, I think, anyone's expectation. Where does that come from? And what are the benefits that you've seen over the years inside of your business by putting the customer really at the center of your studio?
Sure. I think it comes from the fact that I feel that I'm given a mission through my studio to help children or young adults to discover who they are and how they are wonderful and beautiful. And I think just coming from that, really making sure that they know those things, even before it's a customer type of thing, just having them know that each day they're loved. So even just every time I see a child, I want to make sure that I'm always smiling, just so that they can feel something in themselves. And so that's been helpful. And then that focuses on, I mean, I'm so appreciative of our families because there are so many studios around us that they could go to. And it's not that I'm bending over backwards all the time or letting them take advantage of anything.
Oh, no. Yeah.
No, but I just want them to know that I really appreciate them because I get to do for a living what I love. And that to me is the biggest gift. It's so amazing. And they play a big part of that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks for sharing that. Tell me a little bit about your philosophy at More Than Dance, and how have you managed to stand out? You said you're in a competitive market. I think there's probably a lot of people listening that are like, me too. There's hundreds of studios around me. How have you managed to keep growing the business and really stand out so that, you know, you are, you know, top of mind, tip of tongue? Why are people coming to you?
Sure. I think it really goes back to the values that I have, and everything that I do, whether it's marketing or performances that we do, goes back to our intrinsic values. And I think that people gravitate towards that. When you have an identity, not just as the competitive studio or as a recreational studio, but as a studio who values dancers of all different types, or at our studio, we really value wholesomeness and family-friendly kind of dance training and acting training. So I think that really helps because people kind of can see that there's a plan, a growth, a reason, and not just you're going at it to get all their money, if that makes sense. So
yeah. Completely. I know you have a mix of programming and you've talked about it. It's kind of triple threat. How do you kind of stay on top of the curriculum side of things and ensure that, because your teaching team has grown as well since I've known you, you've grown your teaching team and you've transitioned out of teaching a lot of hours. How do you kind of look after the quality control of what's being taught now that you're not in the classroom all the time?
Sure. I do a lot more meetings with my staff and a lot more empowering of them. It's taken a lot of work to kind of let go of my pride and know that even if things aren't done exactly the way I want it to be, if they're still at a level that I think is good, sometimes it's okay to let the little things kind of go, if that makes sense. But really planning and having a clear idea and a clear path for my teachers and what they need to do and what they need to accomplish by certain times. So, and it's hard because, you know, some of them come for 2 hours a week. So how do you connect with them and get them to understand the importance of everything they do? But part of that too is in our values. I really stress to our teachers that we need to see the value in each person that walks in our space. And so even if they may not be doing the exact curriculum, if they're empowering a child to feel good about themselves, sometimes that's more important. Yeah. Well, it always is, but you know what I mean.
Sure, I totally get it. And again, I think because you've set as well, your values in place and your team know your values, that, everything always comes back to those.
Right.
Which is so powerful. Now, you're a mum and a wife, and and I had the pleasure of meeting your family in New York last year. We had dinner, which was a lot of fun. Yeah. But I wanted to ask, how have you kind of managed that, and how has it shifted since you've grown the business?
Sure. I used to be in here 7 days a week teaching almost every single class. And now I take 2 nights off, one during the weekday and then one on the weekend. And I try to take other times off as well. But those are the times that I just really try to focus on being with my family and trying to put away the work. But it's not easy. And now, unfortunately, my mom is not doing well health-wise. Mm-hmm. So that's thrown a wrench into it, because sometimes I don't, I plan out my day. And if I need to leave to go be with her and help her out, that can cause some shifts in things. But I think it's a lot of just knowing what your parameters are. I don't anymore go to every play that my students are in someplace else, or I don't go to every senior party anymore that my students are in. I just can't. So things like that, just knowing what's important to me and where my family fits in with that.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And I mean, you've put a lot of, you've really stepped into a leadership role. I've seen the systems and processes that you've been implementing, the way that you work with your team as well. I'd love to know, over the last couple of years, what do you think has been a really big game changing? Maybe it's a strategy or it's a shift in mindset. What has been a real game changer for you in growing the business? When we think about growing the students, growing the revenue, what do you think has been something important, impactful that has helped with that?
Sure. The biggest thing for me, I think, has been my Sunday night planning sessions that I have with myself. Then I prepare out the week and how I want the week to look. What used to happen is I would go into the studio on Monday morning and be like, okay, what has to get done? And then I get sidetracked, and then I'd see the competitors' Facebook post, and then I'd freak out about that. And so the more that I can just plan out, even if I don't always follow it to the letter, but planning out how I want my week to look and kind of turning off everything else and knowing that the competitors are going to be there. Didn't you say once that don't compare your backyard to their front yard?
Yeah. It's like, don't compare someone else's front of stage to your back of house.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that was a big mind shift too. And just the idea that we're going to grow and it's just going to happen and we'll make it work. And, we're just going to do it. So, yeah. Yeah.
It's Sunday planning. It's a great point, and that's super tactical. Everyone can take that away. Spend some time on your own. Screaming kid, put the screaming kids away, lock the husband away, whatever it is. Spend some time on your own, just with a note. I do it with my notepad, my favorite notepad in the world.
I have mine right here.
Yeah. And so pen and paper, there's nothing better, and just map out what are my priorities. We talk a lot in Inner Circle every Monday. Make it happen Monday. What are your 3 priorities for this week? Getting clarity around that, and then also knowing what are the steps that are going to get me close to that. And where can I put them during my week?
Right.
Scheduling them out and really getting clear on what's a priority and also what's not, because we should be saying no probably a lot more than what we do.
Yes, absolutely.
And we talk a lot about that. Angela, for a studio owner that may be at the 100, 200 students, maybe they're in the first couple of years and they really want to grow their business and they're trying to build their dream studio, what advice would you give them to having that growth without it compromising their quality of life?
Sure. I would think one of the biggest things is to plan on paying yourself right away. That was a mistake that I made. I didn't plan on that. And so that transition has been a lot harder because just when you're paying yourself, you feel more validated for the hard work that you're doing. This is my experience, at least. Yeah. Feel more validated for the hard work that I'm doing. And I think that it's just important to keep going along and writing down things that you can transfer from year to year to year. Do less but better, like you always say. Try not to do everything that everybody else is doing. Do the things that you can do really well and really focus on those. And then the growth will happen. I mean, if you have systems in place, if you have a determination, it'll happen. It'll happen.
Yeah. But persistence plays a big part in that, you know, and I've seen that with you as well. You know, those times when maybe things aren't working out, but you just like keep persisting. It's a crucial quality to have for success.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Angela, you're now your third year inside of the Inner Circle.
Yes.
And for everyone that's watching, we are doing an intake. We're taking applications for the Inner Circle at the moment. Who do you think is the right type of person to join us? What gets you excited when we welcome a new member? What type of new members do you love?
I love the people who don't understand how amazing they are yet. I love the type of studio owners who are plowing away and doing their best and have this desire, but don't know kind of what next steps to have. And you provide them with the roadmap. The Inner Circle provides them with the roadmap. But those points that when they come into the room and like, they don't realize how fantastic they are. And being around all the other Inner Circle members, it's amazing the brilliance that everybody has. I mean, it just, so if you think, you know, I don't have it together, I don't know what I'm doing, that may not be the case. And it's probably not the case. But if you just need a direction and are willing to get going and willing to really, really dive in, the Inner Circle is fantastic. I mean, 2 of my best friends are in the Inner Circle, which is crazy, you know? So it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I always because guys, like the Inner Circle, and I always say like the Inner Circle isn't for everyone. You know, we are not for everyone.
Right.
And not everyone is for us, but I like you hearing, everyone that's watching, I like you hearing from members and for them to describe like who they want in the group as well. Because that's what makes for a very successful community. Any type of community, it's the same inside of your dance studio. And so Angela, I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah. What's your website, Angela, so that our studio owners watching can check out all the awesome stuff you are up to?
Sounds good. It is More Than Dance, MOORETHAN dance.com.
Awesome. Well, Angela, thank you for sharing with us today. I appreciate it. Always love our chats, and I will see you in the Inner Circle.
Sounds great. And if anybody has questions, I'm happy they can contact me, and I'm happy to answer them one-on-one too about the Inner Circle.
Awesome. Thanks, Angela. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, guys. Hope you loved the amazing Angela. I'm sure you fell in love with her just like we all do inside of the Inner Circle. We are going to keep this party going. I'm going to welcome our next guest into our power hour that we have with all of you amazing people. And we are going to welcome the beautiful, amazing, passionate, such a sweetheart, Mary Beth from Next Step Dance in Alaska. Mary Beth, what is going on? How are you?
Hi, I'm great. I was just writing down notes from Angela, like how I'm like, oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
We love Angela. Angela has a lot of ideas. So Mary Beth, thanks for taking some time out today to chat.
Having me.
I greatly appreciate it. So I would love you to tell us a little bit, because I know you've got an interesting journey into studio ownership and the location that you're in. So I would love you to tell us a little bit about your journey, how you ended up being a studio owner, and a little bit about your background, and what does the studio look like today?
Okay. So yeah, first of all, I live in a place that a lot of people can't even imagine is real. I live on an island in Alaska, and we have about 6,000 people in our town. And my background is actually in fisheries science. I have a master's degree in fisheries, and I spent 10 years working in fisheries science before becoming a studio owner. And I had taught for a long time with various studios here and there. And I realized when I was at my fisheries work, I was doing my lesson plans and thinking about dance. And I thought, okay, this is crazy. I'm working 2 pretty much full-time jobs, and I'm thinking about one when I'm at the other. But when I was teaching, I was definitely not thinking about fisheries. So I decided to take the plunge, and having that full-time job allowed me the stability to plan ahead and take the jump. So now I have a studio in our town, and we have about 245 kids with the goal to hit 400, because then we'll be the largest student activity in our town. And we run 6 days a week. We're a ballet-based studio. That's my background, but we offer everything from tap to contemporary to adult hip hop. So we're giving it a go.
Yeah, I love it. I still remember our initial call when we had our first call, and you were telling me what you were up to and about leaving the full-time job, making the transition into, opening your own dance studio. And I just knew then that you would be successful in having your studio, and you're doing such a great job. You talked about planning briefly, but I want to dive into that a little deeper. For anyone that's thinking of opening a dance studio, what were some of the things that you really focused on in those kind of preparing stages of opening the business?
Oh, the biggest one for me was I spent several months developing a business plan. I researched online. I looked at other dance studios. I put together a complete business plan that had everything from how I was going to do my advertising to what my enrollment would hopefully be. It's pretty comprehensive, and it was a great way for me. I've actually gone back to that business plan every once in a while and said, oh yeah, I was going to do this. I should do that. And that when it came time to get a loan for my building, that was crucial. And I had several mortgage officers say this is one of the best that we put together. And I think that also comes from just my background. Like, if you're going to do something, you're going to do it to the best of your ability all the way through and put it really together. And so, having a full-time job definitely allowed me the stability to be able to work on that while still having an income. And also I'm very conscientious of what I left behind. Somebody else paying you for sitting at a desk is pretty darn nice. And so it made me really strategize, and pretty much, I felt like I had my ducks in a row when I decided to do this. It was a very conscientious choice to do this.
Yeah, I love that, because, for everyone that's listening that's been a part of our world, how obsessed I am with planning everything. And what I love, Mary Beth was really focused. It's not that she's not saying that she found a building and rented a space and then was like, all right, how am I going to do this? And started and figured it out. I mean, there always is a place where we have to be in that figuring it out mode, and we're kind of doing it every single day. But there's a lot of preparation you can do up front. I want to ask you though, there's that whole being paralyzed by preparation, which is when is enough preparation enough? I mean, when you started your studio, did you say, okay, this is the date that I'm going to be opening? And did you kind of work backwards to nut it all out? Or did you kind of prepare and go, okay, now I feel like I'm ready? Because I feel like you're never really ready 100%. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, but done is sometimes better than perfect.
Yes.
And the more you plan, the better. But never is everything going to go to plan, right? We had our open house planned, and then you roll with whatever happens within that framework. Yeah. And that is, I will admit, that's something that drives me a little, that I'm getting better at, is looking ahead and be like, okay, I know I want to do this, so I got to at least remind myself to start thinking about that 6 weeks ahead or 2 months ahead. Or, people are shocked that I know our recital date for next year, because nobody in this town plans that far ahead. And so that's one thing that actually I'm like, okay, well, I'll just put my stuff out there, and hopefully hockey will eventually figure out that they should work around me, because I,
Yeah, I get it. I mean, how do you are in a space where you've got other activities going on, you're in a location that is quite isolated. How do you kind of manage that and roll with it and, create programming that is really attractive to, these people that are doing 100 other things?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Our students are the students that do everything else, and so we are really accommodating. We offer our kids makeup classes. We stress makeup classes actually, so behind in their classes. We have a lot of parents that drop in and say, hey, these 5 kids are going to be traveling for XYZ next weekend. And we say, okay, great, good to know. We won't schedule a rehearsal. We just really try to be accommodating of that. And supportive, because we want dance to be their chief love, but not at the expense of something else, and recognizing that these kids have a lot going on, and some of them will choose to put us above everything else, and some of them are going to say not right now. And the one thing that's been really interesting this year is we started offering some short courses for like little ones or new boys classes that were just 6 weeks. And that was really popular. And something I'd never considered doing before, but I was this year kind of brave enough to say like, yeah, okay, let's try it. And if it goes great, then we know. And if it doesn't go great, all right, it's okay to fail on that one for now. So just trying to be a little flexible and recognize that our students are human beings in town, and most of them aren't even aware of like the competitive world, much less the professional world. And so we gotta just make this the place that they are so excited to come to after soccer practice.
Yeah. How do you get them excited? What are you doing inside of the studio that is, keeping them coming back week after week?
Well, right now we're in recital, and everybody loves recital. We're a ballet. We're doing a full-length recital. So they've got their characters and their costumes and everything coming up. But through the year, we just did a banana splits party for kids that got their splits this year. We do a sleepover once a year. We do a movie night. We do fun things maybe every 6 weeks or so. And they're not hugely time-consuming for my staff, but it's something where they're coming to the studio outside of their normal class, so it's a place that they're associating with fun and free time as well. And I think that's helping a lot.
I love it. It's been great. Mary Beth, you've grown the studio quite quickly in terms of student numbers, and you are in an area that, like you said, only has 6,000 people. I mean, and all of them aren't at a dance age or want to go to dancing. So you're doing a fantastic job. What has been a strategy that you've implemented over the last year that has helped with the student attraction side of things?
Let's see. Besides getting out there on Facebook, I think one thing that has really helped make our studio seem a place to be is I have a great front desk person. Scared to spend the money on a front desk person at first, but she's so valuable, and it means that I can be teaching or doing whatever, and people are still able to come in and say, hey, do you have a class for 3-year-olds? And she says, yes. Or she says, did you know we got summer camps coming up? So that's been really helpful.
That is a great tip, for everyone right there, is because, like you said, you're on Facebook, on social media, Facebook ads, you're getting out there. But if that person you don't have, is the first person they see, if that person isn't amazing and such a cheerleader and knowledgeable of the product and the service, then kind of you're wasting a bit of money on your marketing. So that's a really good point.
And just to have a presence there that's the studio when I'm teaching, I can't imagine. I would have parents coming through my studio door all the time, interrupting classes and, everything else. It's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. Mary Beth, you're quite new. You're one of our newer members in the Inner Circle, and you're a new studio owner as well. What has been, and obviously honest, what has been your honest kind of experience as a new studio owner, inside of this program over the last few months?
That if I think there's a better way than what I'm doing, there probably is a better way, and somebody else has probably tried it and is willing to share it with me. Not into reinventing the wheel. And it's that's been it, really. Like, I start kind of beating my head or getting stuck or getting scared of something I haven't done before, and I'm like, wait, somebody else probably knows something about this, and I can ask and I can get some guidance.
Yeah.
There is no reason for me to reinvent the wheel every week.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great takeaway. I mean, obviously a huge aim for us in Inner Circle is to, as well, with the community, but to be providing those systems and processes where you don't have to sit down for a couple of weeks to try and figure something out.
I'm still figuring out how it works for you, but the guidance is phenomenal. It's great.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. What's your biggest tip for a studio owner who is in their first year or is just about to start and take that leap of faith? What would you share with them?
Besides, listen to everything that Angela says before me. I would say, and this is hard, this is really hard to do, but I would say if you can get your time management done, established from the start, that's going to save you so much heartache. There's no reason to be burning the candle at both ends. It is possible to do this and not be crazy and to have a life and to be making money, and that's how it should be. So time management is a huge one that I'm still learning, and I just think it's so valuable.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I would agree with you. Very, very important. Mary Beth, what's your website so our studio owners can go in and check out all the great things you guys are up to?
We are at www.nextstepdancekodiak.com.
Awesome. Well, Mary Beth, thank you for taking the time out today to chat with me and share with our studio owners. I love your story. You're doing such a great job. And I can't wait to keep seeing where this journey takes you.
Thank you so much, Clint. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. See you in the Inner Circle. Bye.
All right. Bye.
So guys, 2 awesome members from the Inner Circle sharing with you their wisdom down. We've got a couple more to go. Like I said, doors are open to the Inner Circle. This is our last week for this intake. So if you are interested, go to our website, dancestudioownersassociation.com. I know it's a long one. dancestudioownersassociation.com/inner circle. Go there, check out the information. I encourage you to apply, and then we get to chat, and I get to share with you more about our vision and this awesome program that we have for our studio owners. Let me welcome, I was going to say to the stage, it's kind of like a little bit to the stage. Next up, we're going to be chatting with Brenna from the Landing Dance Centre in Vancouver in Canada. How are you? Hello.
I'm good. How are you?
I like your hair.
Oh, thanks.
Looks good. Good to see you and good to chat today. So Brenna, why don't we kick off the same question that I've asked everyone. Tell us about your studio owner journey, how you became a studio owner, and what does your studio look like today?
So I opened my studio 10 years ago in May. I would have gotten my business license. So I started out primarily with competitive students. So I had about 40 to 50 competitive students, probably all over the age of 10. So my journey has been a little bit backwards, and it's kind of interesting now trying to implement a recreational program. And now we have about 265 students. I think 140 of them are recreational. So that's a new thing for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And I mean, a lot of people will either go from recreational to implementing a competitive team, but yeah, very few have your journey of like starting and having a big competitive team and then moving into the recreational, although we know the recreational departments are very important. If you want to build a dance studio that has good cash flow and some good profitability in it. What have you learned over the last couple of years? Because some things have obviously shifted for you. You've been in business 10 years. You're growing your recreational department inside the studio, which is great. But what has shifted? What are maybe some of the key takeaways you've had from those first few years to now how you run the business?
Well, when I started, I honestly thought that people knew what they wanted coming in. That was something that I just thought they have an expectation and they know what they want and they understand what they want. And over the years, I realized people don't actually know what they want. And you have to build programs that show them the journey and show them the possibilities that they have within dance. Because they're obviously all coming from their own experiences or their own beliefs. And I think just realizing that you have to share your journey with people so that they understand what the possibilities of their journey can be within your company and then beyond. So yeah, I think that was the biggest lesson that I learned probably in the first few years is because I had a core group of students and it was really interesting when their expectations changed and things don't always align, you start to take it personally. And then realizing that it's not about me and that it is about their journey, I think was the most important lesson.
I think that is so good because we take for granted everything we know as well, because most of us who have had a studio or still have a studio, starting a studio, we're like, yeah, we've grown up with this. Yeah, we know how that works. We know about this. We know about that. And we think everyone knows this. Yeah, everyone does. This is like common knowledge, but no, it's not. That is, Brenna, that is so powerful. How have you helped to tell your story? So how do you kind of integrate that learning into the business?
So it was interesting because when I first opened, I'd say the first 5 years, that was just part of it. It was that people came to work with me. My journey was the business. And then it became really clear that I couldn't continue to be the business. So I think that's been the last 5 years, I would say, trying to make that shift and make the Landing Dance Center, not just Brenna McLeod. So it's been a challenge, but it's been fun. So I think now because over the last 5 years, I've tried to change the focus and, focus people's energy on our other instructors and this and that. Well, then I'm realizing now, oh my gosh, the focus isn't on me anymore and people are losing that as well. So it's finding that balance of, being the CEO and being the leader of the company, but not taking all the spotlight. So now I'm getting back into sharing, my journey with parents. We implemented the onboarding system where I shared photos. I think we did like a Friendsgiving in
that's cute.
October versus doing Thanksgiving. And we sent out pictures of me with old dance friends. And, so that was as part of our onboarding. So, and then we now have a family Facebook page, so I'm on there more often. And it definitely in the next 6 months is going to be a big thing of putting me out there more and sharing my journey. Sorry, I'm a little sick today. So
you're doing great.
It's just a little bit, my throat's a little bit off. So yeah, I'm going to be sharing more again about who I am because I'm realizing the little kids don't know the 5-year-olds weren't around, 10 years ago. So yeah, it's been really interesting and watching the parents really gravitate towards my story has been really rewarding.
That's another really powerful takeaway. I hope everyone is writing this down because, we get into our studio and we're like, okay, everyone wants me, but I can't teach 100 classes a week. And so now I need to transition a little bit out of teaching. And then you transition out and you're like, oh, no one wants Miss Brenna anymore. No one even knows who I am. But then, like you said, your story and your presence and you being there as the CEO, as the figurehead is still so crucial. We look at Virgin, look at Richard Branson. He's not, swiping people's tickets as they get on the plane, but his story and his journey are very much ingrained in the brand. And we know him as the figure, but we don't expect him to be saying, tea
welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard, tea or coffee. Do you want sugar? Yeah. And so I love that. Such a good message. what does a day look like for you as the CEO of your studio? And I know that it's going to change all the time, but where are you now focusing, the majority of your time as a leader as you keep growing this business?
So one of the things that I've implemented in the last 2 months is when I hired new staff, I've now switched everybody's schedule around so that we have a Monday morning meeting. So Mondays are for planning, and I do teach Monday night. I teach 6 days a week. This is also part of my journey, and I have to work on that for next year. So we have our Monday morning meeting. We know what is coming up for the week, and then I teach Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I have off. Hence the reason I could be here right now because today is Wednesday.
Yay! We're glad to have you.
So, and then I teach Thursday, Friday, Saturday as well. So in the mornings, I'm usually ordering costumes because costumes for me is something that I did try to hand off last year and it didn't go very well. So I realized it is something, unfortunately, that I just have to do. And it works for the business. And I'm working closely with my office manager and she does all the budgeting and everything. Great. But I just make sure that everything is right and ready to go. So I spend a lot of my mornings just like project planning, and honestly taking care of my housework and all that stuff. But, because I don't get home until 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night because I teach five hours a night. So I teach a lot. I have an amazing office manager though. And we've had a discussion about, my time and my value to my business. And I am very valuable to my business as a teacher. So I have 3 office staff now where I only had 1 last year because we are all realizing that doing the office and doing the planning is not my forte.
Sure, it's not your zone of genius.
It's not.
You're not sitting there. You're not sitting there at 3 a.m. in the morning trying to bang out some invoices, though. This is the important. No. This is the important piece for everyone that's listening.
I have not. So even when, I honestly probably could not even. I could go into my business at this point and process a payment or something, but I have not done a single piece of admin in. I can't even tell you how long. And even last night I left the studio and my office manager hands me the tech schedule, the show order, the picture day schedule. Can you just approve this? Yeah. I am not I will go to her and I'll write some stuff on that and I'll say, I really want this jazz to open the show. That's really all that I'm doing. So yeah, I'm just refining. And I have with one of my new staff members, we did a parent appreciation week this week. And she would come to me and she's like, okay, so this is where I'm at with the wall, because we're trying to get our DVD price down to $25. So the more parents that order, the less it costs.
Yeah.
So, but how do you explain that to people? So we have this big interactive wall. And so she comes to me and she says, here, this is my idea, but I feel like something's missing. And I'm and I go, oh yeah, this is this. She's like, yeah. And so now every time she comes to me, I just finish what she's working on.
Yeah.
And that's me. I have the initial idea, but I'm not the implementer. I'm not the person that can take it from the idea to the starting point, but I'm the person that will take it across the finish line and make sure that it's all.
You tie the bow around it and you're done.
Yeah. But I love it because my staff is oh my gosh, but it wouldn't have been complete if you had said that.
Yeah. So, I love that. And for everyone that's listening, what I love about this is Brenna has absolute clarity around where her strengths and her weaknesses are, and really about plugging in what these amazing people that can support her in the areas that she either has no desire to work in, no interest, or it's not a strength. And that is a really great quality to have as a business owner, because I know with a lot of our studio owners, superwoman syndrome kicks in and we sometimes feel like we need to be doing everything ourselves.
I also think it's because we're women, we feel guilty that we're asking somebody else to do something that we think we should be doing. And I've had to get over that because I do. There's times where I'll be sitting here and I'm I should be helping them. And I think, you know what? I shouldn't, because that's what they're there for. And if I step in and take over their job, they're not going to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
So, but these are definitely things that I've learned over the last year. There's being part of the inner circle. Like I always knew my strengths, but I didn't know that it was okay to actually say them and to say to somebody, yeah, I'm not good at that.
Yeah. And commit to them. Like, these are my strengths. This is where I'm spending my time. Like, I'm not doing any of this other stuff, guys. Like, that's you.
Yeah.
I love it. Brenna, you've been to 2 retreats now for the Inner Circle. I'd love for you, because I haven't asked anyone about, and we get so many questions about our live retreats. I'd love for you to share just a little bit about the experiences that you've had at our 3-day retreats. We did obviously New York last year, and then we did Vegas earlier this year. We're back in New York in July. Paint a picture. What was that kind of experience for you like?
I think, they are amazing. They're absolutely, they are game changing, like without a doubt. I come back from them and I'm always talking about all this stuff and my office manager's just looking like, well, you're crazy. Like, are we really going to do all this stuff? So, but what I loved about Vegas especially was that it was about leadership. It was about, not project planning, but customer journey. There were so many wonderful speakers that just help you understand your struggles. Like, because we know our struggles and we have them in our head. Sometimes we don't want to admit them. But then when you're sitting in these seminars with these wonderful people, all of a sudden you realize that's why I'm having that struggle, because I've never heard this before. I thought this, but I've never actually heard anyone else say it, acknowledge it, talk about it. It's a thing. And now I don't feel crazy. Now I feel like, okay, maybe I don't have time to get there in the next 90 days or the next year, but eventually these things are going to be part of what I can implement in my business. And I think that's the hardest part, is not going back to your business and trying to implement it all in the next 90 days.
Of course. Yeah, of course. I mean, you get 6 months until our next retreat.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. What would be something shareable that you would like to tell our studio owners that are listening? What has been a game changer for you, a mindset shift, or maybe it's just a strategy you've implemented that has impacted the way your studio runs or the way you run your life? What would be one thing that you would love, like one golden nugget that you would like to pass on to the studio?
So there's so many things. There's so many. I think, and I wrote it down earlier, but I think stick to your vision, but also your vision, you stick to your vision, but it can change. It can evolve. And I think sometimes you go in going, yeah, this is the studio I'm going to have. But along the way, we have these experiences and we have these things that, come our way that are ultimately going to change our vision. And that's okay. And I think that as long as you have the right support system and you have the right information, then your vision is only going to change for the better. Yeah.
I love it. So good. Thank you, Brenna. So nice for you to be here today and on your day off, on your teaching day off, and
I'm going to walk my dog. That's what
Yay!
And I'm saying that on camera so that I go walk my dog.
Yes, right. Accountability. We love accountability. We love putting it out into the world. Brenna, what's your website so that our studio owners can check out all the great stuff?
TheLandingDance.com.
TheLandingDance.com. Brenna, always a pleasure. Thank you again. And I look forward to seeing you in the Inner Circle.
Yeah. We'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye. Everyone, I hope you are enjoying our Power Hour. We have one more guest to go. And I just hope that you're having a great time. You're getting some key takeaways. You're thinking differently about how you run the studio, how you are being the CEO maybe of your business. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're just joining us, doors are open now to apply for the Inner Circle. If you are wanting to go to the next level inside of your dance studio and you would love to be surrounded by a group of like-minded studio owners from around the globe with access to resources and done-for-you systems and live retreats like Brenna just talked about, we would love to receive an application from you. Just go to dancestudioownersassociation.com/inner circle, or you can head over to our website, dsoa.com, click on the programs tab, and you'll see the inner circle right there. We would love to get an application for you. All right, let's wrap up this party. We have one lovely, lovely guest left that is going to be joining us. Her name is Patty Johnson. She's from Core Dynamics in Alberta, Canada. Patty. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. You?
That's good. I just thought I should have gone to my cupboard and grabbed out my mug that you gave me at the last retreat. It was staring at me before when I got my glass of water. I thought of you. Every time I open that cupboard, Patty, every day I think of you.
Have you used your Hot Pockets?
No, I haven't needed to use my Hot Pocket.
Oh, I might need to borrow them back. We're under snow again.
I know. This weather is so crazy. Patty, thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure to jump on and chat with you. Patty's one of our cheekier members of the Inner Circle, and we love her. All I remember, Patty, is from our retreat Monday, our last day in Vegas. Patty comes in with a Monday mimosa.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do. I felt like the bad kid at school. It was
so much fun. It was our last day in Vegas. Why not? Monday morning mimosas when in Vegas.
Yeah.
Patty, tell us a little bit about your studio journey and what your studio looks like today, because you got a couple of cool things going on.
Yeah, my studio opened by accident. I had no intention of going back to teaching full time. I had no intention of ever really teaching dance to groups of classes ever again. I'd done it and I was over it. And I actually started going into Pilates because my hips were always popping out because of dance. So what happened is I started a Pilates for dancers, and from there I had students asking if I'd teach them or do exam prep, and I have that, problem saying no, and so I did. And then we started offering 6-week dance classes, and then somebody started a rumor I was opening a studio, and it turned out to be true.
I love it. And that's where you are today.
That's where I am today. We started with about 45 students, and we're about 340, 350 now. I had 3 new registrations this week, Clint.
Woohoo!
Free trials.
We love that. Well, tell us a little bit about your role, because you've got some different departments, different areas of expertise that are needed to facilitate the classes. What's your role? What does your role look like as the CEO?
Well, I would say actually it's changed this year quite a bit, just because we are short-staffed. We are down teachers. That looks like it's changing. I'm happy to report for next season. Amazing. And I have a lovely new hire that just started a couple weeks ago. But this year I was actually back in the classroom I was teaching 36 hours a week. So my role changed dramatically. When I was expecting to have more time to be the CEO and step back and mentor new teachers and mentor admin staff, became, no, you're back in the classroom. And I was actually really relating to everything Brenna was saying in the last call, because I love being in the classroom. It's not work. It is not. I would do it for free. Don't tell my dance parents. But I love it. And I feel that's where I am most beneficial. The other part of that, though, is my staff come to me quite a bit, like admin staff or even the teachers on personal levels, when they need a cheerleader or to help them believe in themselves. So I'm starting to find that's maybe a strength of mine that I can tap into. And I've found being in the studio more this year, I had more students coming into my office to share personal things. And I've heard them, they go, what would Miss Patty do? It's a saying now. And I'm not sure that they should always show up with a Monday mimosa like Miss Patty would do, but I like that role. And it's a lot of things that have happened in my business have happened organically, not because I've searched them out.
Yeah, this is great. When you had to go, because it happens, right? No matter what stage our studio is at, there is a time where sometimes we've got to go back in and we've got to teach.
Yeah.
How has the business still continued to grow, though? What have you put in place? What is in there so that it hasn't fallen apart?
Well, I think for me, and part of my attraction to the Inner Circle and DSOA was I knew very well I could run a dance class, but I had no idea about how to run a business. And so with the tools and things that you've provided, I now have like Facebook ad systems in place. We have a private parent Facebook page. We've got our free trial classes. We've got re-enrollment. We do assessment reports as part of our customer retention. We have exam systems and checklists in place. Costume ordering. I made money on pictures this year. I actually got a check from the photographer and I was like,
yay!
Oh, yeah. Yay! Where I used to lose money and had to have extra hours to make up. We've got more testimonials coming in, and Bonnie, our office manager, and I have our customer journey mapped out in sticky notes across our office. And even though we haven't had time to implement everything this year because I don't have the time to train and they don't have the time to train, like it all comes down for me, but we've got a system in place. This is what we're starting in May and June when we're not running as many dance classes. So everything is set and ready to go. And I think the one hardest thing for me, and this is actually especially because of being an Inner Circle member, there are so many crazy, talented, inspirational women. I was feeling like the lost cause of the group. And it was a huge pill to swallow. And I just had to accept you can't do it on 36 hours of teaching a week, but you can do one thing a week. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be bold, but you can do one thing a week. And at the end of the year, I'll have 52 things done. And what I focused on was our community, because I knew if you always say it, they'll come for the dance, but they'll stay for the community. And I thought, Clint always says there's a reason Clint always says this, focus on that one thing and do it right. So we've had, oh man, we did like a movie night at the beginning of the year. We did 5 days of Christmas, which solved a huge problem and turned out to be the biggest customer retention. Parents are still talking about it. We did a princess party. We did a studio sleepover. We've got a Hawaiian luau planned for next week.
I love it.
Report cards are going out. And you can never beat the power of a big stuffed animal for a contest at the studio. Best $25 ever spent.
Yeah, that was a hit in the Inner Circle.
Yeah.
I love all of this. And you'll see a theme from today's guest and also last week's guest. And Patty's really touching on it. And it is the experience of the customer. Mm-hmm. And that really is, and I loved how Patty is talking about, I'm in the classroom 36 hours, and guys, that happens, right? Like there's sometimes we've got to get thrown back in our studio, and we are teaching and we love it, but we can get a little discouraged as well because we can't implement all the other things that we'd like to do. But having that clear focus and that goal of like just that one extra thing, what is that one thing I'm focused on is so powerful. And so I think it's a great lesson for everyone that's listening that maybe feels like they're in a similar boat at the moment, maybe teaching a whole bunch and feel like they're a little bit on the treadmill. You can make time, you can make time for that one thing. I want to ask Patty about lovely Bonnie because Bonnie is, one of your team members. She's been at a couple of retreats with us now. Yeah. What is that relationship like? How do you make it work? Tell us a little bit about kind of her role as well, because I love it when you two are together and I just see the dynamic and the collaboration and the passion between both of you for the business. So for anyone out there that's like looking for their own version of Bonnie, I'd love you to talk a bit about that.
Okay. Well, Bonnie is a rare gem. I will say that. And I found her because I sent a notice out to our clients because I had a series of just bad desk staffs. I can't one day over a mimosa.
I was going to say over a mimosa. Definitely over a mimosa.
Oh man. And so I actually sent an email out to my clients and said, until I can find somebody that deserves like the job, that can handle it and will treat you all with respect. And I can't even remember how all I worded it. And I'm like, and if you know anybody, please send them my way. But they need to know how to work. They need to show up. They need to smell good. They need to, it was fairly basic because it's not a difficult job, but you do have to be people oriented.
Yeah.
And that's how I found Bonnie. It was one of my long-term Pilates clients goes, I know the perfect person. And Bonnie she is, if I could give her another name, it would be Director of Customer Experience because she is so, she gets moved to tears when the kids come out of exams on how much they felt going into it. She's never had a dance class in her life, but she's so invested in them. And with our Pilates clients, like if they can avoid surgery or they're back up post-surgery in 2 weeks, she's cheering them on and sending them, emails and whoop whoops. And so she gets it. She's so invested. And I would say she's my person, but I'm her person too. So personally, she's there for me. Personally, I am there for her. And so we have a friendship work relationship, and it's rare. I will say it's rare, and it takes a special person to do it. We can be friends when we need to be friends, which is most of the time. But if there's days that I need to put my boss hat on and go, okay, this isn't right. Why did this happen? I need this cleaned up now. She can put her employee hat on and do that. And that it is rare. It's very rare, but it's worth looking for.
Yeah.
And we have so much fun at work.
Yeah. And that also is the other really important thing. You just gotta have a good time.
Yeah. One day I showed up for work and it was after a particularly rough night when just an angry customer needed somebody to vent on. And I showed up with hot chocolates and peppermint schnapps. And she's like, we can do this at work. I'm like, we can when nobody's here. So we taught our classes in the morning and then we had there's kind of an alcohol theme running here, I think, maybe.
How do you get through studio ownership?
Yeah.
Most of Mondays with Patty.
Most of Mondays. But no, she's I try to do special little things with my staff that let them know I value when you do the hard things for this business too. I recognize it. I appreciate you're willing to do it and I don't brush it under the rug like it's part of their job because it's tough. Those things are tough. Yeah. And we're lucky enough that we really do have phenomenal dance parents because I am very purposeful in the community that I'm trying to attract.
Yeah, you're very clear on your ideal students and parents at the studio, which is so important.
Yes.
What have you? I want to move to a growth question because you are growing this studio. What has been something that you have done, a strategy or a tactic you've implemented over the last couple of years that you feel has been a game changer around bringing people in?
Well, this year in particular, the Facebook ads with the free trials. I hadn't done that with a system in place with follow through yet. I was doing ads, I was offering the free trials, but I hadn't completed that system. And we have that system in place now. And our preschool program is at 100% capacity with waiting lists.
Yay. We love preschool.
Love preschools. And like I said, we just had 3 new kids sign up this week and we finish in 3 weeks. Our season's done then.
I love it.
I still remember our call together and you said, why aren't you taking new students? And I'm like, I can't take new students. It's January. And you're like, why wouldn't you take new students? And I'm like, because I don't know. That's a good question, Clint. And I changed it. And it's we've taken on so many new students since January. And it's a game changer. We're looking at our young kids coming up and future's bright.
Yeah, it's I love it. I love hearing that news. It's exciting.
Yeah.
You're in your second year of the Inner Circle now. We've had Angela in her third, Brenna and Mary Beth in their first. You're in your second.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone that is thinking maybe about applying for the Inner Circle, but they're not sure if they're ready or if it's the right decision for them?
Honestly, I don't know if you're ever ready. I'm in it and I still don't feel ready. And there's, well, and it's sort of like going into business. Are you ever ready to go into business, or is it a leap of faith? And if you have enough faith in yourself to carry through what you learn and you've got the time to do it, that it's a no-brainer. Inner Circle is a no-brainer. If you want to grow your business, just do what Clint says. That's do what Clint says.
I don't know if that'd work very well. Do what I tell you to do.
Right? It's kind of that, but it is that simple, Clint.
Yeah.
It is that simple. If you can do it, just do it. And when you were talking with Brett, I actually wrote down, retreats are to the Inner Circle what the pool and water slide are to dance festivals. That's what retreats are. It's the friendship. It's the getting to see each other. It's that we do all the work through our Facebook groups and everything and sharing and reaching out to each other. That's all done. But the retreats are like the water slide in the pool. It's where the fun, the friendships, the true bonding, I feel, really comes together.
Yeah. I love it. Me too. I love it selfishly as well because we get to all hang out. And laugh a lot and have a really good time and learn obviously. Oh yeah. Thank you for sharing that. What would be your last kind of takeaway for our studio owners that are joining us today and listening to your story and have listened to amazing Angela, Mary Beth, Brenna? What piece of wisdom would you like to share with them about this journey that you're on called Dance Studio Ownership?
Well, I always go back to, I had a very dear friend that owned a studio tell me when I first opened, write down your moral code, your will do's and your won't do's. And when you're stuck or you're like, it's basically writing out your why.
Yeah.
But being very definitive about it. Why your why is your why. And maybe it's what you didn't like working at another studio, or you really did like working at another studio, but the why behind it. And when you're faced with tough decisions, whether it's that family that spends $600 a month, but they're very difficult, go back to your whys and read them, and the answer will always be right there. And that would be and I don't care what level of studio ownership you're at. I still, taking the time to know why you do what you do that will answer everything in the future.
So good. Great way to end today's Power Hour with our amazing studio owners. Patty, thank you. What's your website so our studio owners can check out the amazing things that you're all up to?
www.coredynamics.ca.
Yes, it is. Patty, thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, you too, Clint.
Thanks for taking the time.
No problem.
All right, everyone. Lucky people that were joining us today. I hope you have enjoyed our Power Hour with some of our amazing Inner Circle members. I want to give a shout out and a huge thank you to Angela, Mary Beth, Brenna, and Patty, who we have had on live. They have carved time out of their very busy schedules, as you all know, as studio owners, to share some wisdom, some value, a lot of gold nuggets today with you. I hope you have found today's session inspiring, valuable, and you take away what you have learned and you implement it. Because guys, that's where the power is. There is so much information out there in the world, but what I want you to do is I want you to implement at least one thing that you have taken away from today's session. And I'd love for you to jump on into the comment section and tell us what your biggest takeaway was from today's Power Hour. And also, if you were interested to apply for the Inner Circle, it's our coaching program where you get to work with me, our team of coaches, a bunch of amazing studio owners from all around the world. We have live retreats. We have coaching calls every week. We are really focused on helping you to grow the business side of your studio while reclaiming your life, because I don't want you to be just absorbed in your business. I want you to have an amazing quality of life as well. We would love to see an application come in from you for the Inner Circle. You just need to go to dancestudioownersassociation.com/inner circle, or you can just jump onto our website, dsoa.com, go to the products tab up the top. You'll see Inner Circle. Click on that. It'll take you to the information page. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. Like I said, I hope you've gotten some great value from today's session. Huge shout out to the amazing members we've had over the last 2 weeks that have joined us for these 2 power hours. Also to the awesome Mel from our team who has put all of these together and arranged all of these. Big shout out to her, and I hope you have got a huge amount of value. Take care. I hope I see your application for the Inner Circle come through over the next couple of days. You have until Sunday. But until then, have a great rest of your day and good luck on your journey forward as the CEO of your dance studio. Bye for now.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Transform My Dance Studio. To find out more about joining Clint and our industry-leading team in the Inner Circle, make sure you head over to www.dancestudioownersassociation.com/inner circle.